Earth stood at a crossroads in 2147. Humanity had expanded far beyond its birthplace, carving out cities on Mars, harvesting ice on Europa, and mining asteroids in the belt. Yet, despite colonizing the solar system, humanity remained trapped within the light-speed barrier. The nearest stars might as well have been unreachable mountains, visible but forever distant. As the colonies grew restless and factions jostled for dominance, progress had stagnated. The Pan-Earth Coalition, the Lunar Commonwealth, the Martian Syndicates, and the Outer Colonies Alliance were locked in an uneasy détente, held together by mutual dependence and mutual distrust. Among them, one woman quietly worked toward breaking humanity's invisible chains. Dr. Aisha Kim, buried deep within the laboratories of the Lunar Commonwealth's Quantum Research Institute, reviewed the data from her latest experiment. The lab, hidden beneath the Shackleton crater's perpetual shadow, was cold and silent but alive with streams of quantum calculations displayed in hollow scripts across the walls. The quantum folding drive's prototype sat on a platform before her, humming softly. Aisha's hands trembled slightly as she adjusted the quantum field stabilizer. Years of work, failures, and dead ends had brought her to this singular point, the cusp of faster-than-light travel. Memories drifted through her mind as she worked. As a child, she had watched the grainy footage of the TRAPPIST-1 probe's arrival, images that had inspired her to dedicate her life to unlocking the stars. But another, darker memory lingered, Professor Elias Munro's doomed attempt to create an Alcubierre drive. His ship, the U.S. Horizon, had folded space for mere seconds before tearing itself apart, leaving nothing but wreckage and questions. Kim often thought of Munro's face, haunted but determined, in the days leading to his final mission. She was no Munro. Her approach was different, rooted in advances that hadn't existed during his time. But the stakes were no less terrifying. Humanity was ready, or perhaps desperate, but she wasn't sure if it was ready for what lay beyond the stars. As if answering her doubts, her terminal chimed. A summons from Tycho Command. In the austere council chamber of Tycho Command, members of the Pan-Earth Council debated her technology. Project Pathfinder, the construction of a prototype starship equipped with the quantum folding drive, had been a carefully guarded secret until now. As the schematics hovered above the table, Councillor Rajesh Nadir, representing the Martian syndicates, leaned forward. His voice was measured but laced with warning. This drive will fracture what little unity we have left. If Earth or the Commonwealth claim the stars first, the outer colonies will burn in rebellion. Aisha stood firm. The alternative is stagnation. The system can't sustain us indefinitely. Expansion is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Admiral Elena Serrano, representing the Earth Orbital Defense Command, nodded in agreement. We're already seeing the cracks, Counselor. Mars and Luna barely cooperate, and the belt miners grow bolder by the day. Without new frontiers, this powder keg will ignite. The council chamber quieted as Kim spoke of the dangers of standing still while resources dwindled. Yet even she wondered if humanity could handle the consequences of what she was proposing. After hours of debate, the council reluctantly approved the Pathfinder's maiden voyage. But there were conditions. The ship would be staffed by representatives from multiple factions. Every move would be monitored. They would proceed, but carefully. Kim knew that in politics, careful often meant slow and contentious. Aisha soon found herself standing aboard Dock Alpha 3, watching the ESS Pathfinder under construction. The vessel was unlike anything the solar system had ever seen. Sleek and predatory, its design combined stealth with durability, built from experimental alloys and layered with gravitic shielding. It was both science vessel and warship, an uneasy compromise between factions that did not fully trust each other. Captain Elias Kane walked beside her. A veteran of deep space reconnaissance, Kane was known for bending rules and surviving impossible odds. He had seen the best and worst of human ambition. His sharp blue eyes studied the Pathfinder with something close to reverence. "You know," he said, breaking the silence, "back in the belt, we used to joke that folding space was a fairy tale." Kim smiled faintly. "It might still be. Doesn't feel like it now," Kane replied. The Pathfinder's crew was carefully assembled. Commander Miravas, a tactical officer with no-nonsense demeanor, represented the Martian syndicates. Dr. Nathaniel Pierce, a xenobiologist from Earth, was a precautionary addition, his field only relevant if life was found. Luke O'Rourke, Kim's protégé, served as chief engineer. Ensign Lien Zhou, a lunar Commonwealth navigator with a knack for astrogation, completed the core team. It was clear from their first interaction that Kim would have to navigate more than just folded space. She'd have to manage distrust, ambition, and competing agendas. While Kim focused on finalizing the quantum drive's integration, Kane and Voss reviewed security protocols. Their concerns were validated when an anomaly appeared in the Pathfinder's guidance systems. Subtle, but enough to jeopardize a jump. After hours of investigation, they found the culprit, malware hidden deep within the NAV core, sophisticated enough to evade standard sweeps. Doc Alpha 3 went into immediate lockdown. Tensions flared as accusations flew between factions. Eventually, Lieutenant Cal Varn, a junior engineer, was exposed as the saboteur. Under questioning, Varn confessed allegiance to the Outer Colonies Alliance. His motives were political, but his words carried a grim warning. If humanity extends its leash into the stars, we'll only strangle ourselves faster. His arrest deepened the mistrust simmering among the crew and the broader coalition. Still, the mission pressed on. Launch day arrived under the cold glare of Earth's moonlight. The Pathfinder, pristine and imposing, drifted free from its dry dock cradle. Inside, the crew moved with methodical purpose. Aisha stood at the heart of the operations center, monitoring the quantum matrix. Her pulse quickened as the countdown began. Quantum drive primed, Rourke reported. Target lock on Proxima Centauri B. Ensign Joe confirmed, his fingers gliding over controls. Kim's mind swirled with thoughts of Monroe, of childhood dreams, of the consequences of folding space. As Kane gave the order, the drive engaged. Reality warped. The stars outside twisted like water circling a drain. For a moment, silence reigned. Then the ship lurched forward, not through space, but through space itself. When they emerged, Proxima Centauri's crimson glow bathed the Pathfinder. They had done it. Humanity had reached another star system in moments. Celebration rippled through the crew. Yet, amid the elation, Kim's terminal flashed with anomalous readings. Faint but unmistakable signals emanated from the planet below. Artificial structures, ruins, scattered along the coastline of Proxima Centauri B. A remote probe confirmed it, towering spires of dark metal, corroded and half-buried beneath sediment. Alien ruins. Abandoned but humming faintly with residual energy signatures. As the crew gathered around the holofeed, Kane's voice broke the silence. First contact? Pierce muttered. Or first warning? Kim stared at the images, unease crawling up her spine. Humanity had broken its chains, but what had they stepped into? The Pathfinder's discovery of alien ruins on Proxima Centauri B sent ripples of excitement and trepidation through the crew. As they prepared for an away mission to the planet's surface, Dr. Aisha Kim couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the precipice of a monumental shift in human history. The prospect of uncovering evidence of an extraterrestrial civilization was both exhilarating and daunting. Captain Elias Kane assembled a select team for the mission: Dr. Nathaniel Pierce, the xenobiologist; Commander Miravas, the tactical officer; Ensign Lien Zhou, the navigator; and Luke O'Rourke, the chief engineer. Each brought unique expertise essential for the mission's success. The team gathered in the Pathfinder's briefing room, where holographic projections of the alien structures rotated slowly above the central table. Preliminary scans indicate that these structures are composed of an unknown alloy, Rourke explained, pointing to the projections. The energy signature suggests residual power sources, but we can't determine their function from orbit. Pierce leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with curiosity. This could be the breakthrough we've been searching for, a chance to study an alien civilization firsthand. Voss, ever the pragmatist, interjected. Let's not forget the potential risks. We have no idea what caused this civilization's downfall, or if any threats remain. Kane nodded, acknowledging both perspectives. Agreed. We'll proceed with caution. Our primary objectives are to gather data, assess any potential threats, and return safely. Any questions? The team remained silent, their expressions a mix of determination and anticipation. Kane dismissed them to prepare for the descent. As the shuttle approached the planet's surface, the alien city unfolded beneath them, a sprawling expanse of towering spires and intricate architecture, now partially reclaimed by nature. The atmosphere was breathable but carried a faint metallic scent, hinting at the planet's unique composition. The team donned their gear and disembarked, their boots sinking slightly into the soft, moss-covered ground. Pierce immediately began collecting samples, his instruments buzzing softly as he analyzed the flora and fauna. Fascinating, he murmured. The biodiversity here is unlike anything we've encountered. Rourke examined the nearest structure, running his gloved hand over the smooth, cold surface. This alloy is incredibly resilient. It hasn't corroded despite apparent centuries of exposure. Voss maintained a vigilant watch, her weapon at the ready. Stay alert. We don't know what's out there. As they ventured deeper into the city, they encountered what appeared to be a central plaza. At its heart stood a massive obelisk, covered in intricate symbols that glowed faintly. Joe approached it cautiously, his eyes scanning the patterns. These symbols, they resemble a form of language. If we can decipher them, we might understand more about these beings. Kim joined him, her mind racing with possibilities. Let's document everything. This could be the key to unlocking their history. Hours passed as the team meticulously recorded their findings. Pierce discovered remnants of what appeared to be a communal gathering space, with artifacts that suggested a rich cultural heritage. Rourke identified a dormant energy source, its design both alien and eerily familiar. As dusk settled over the alien city, casting long shadows across the ruins, the team gathered to review their findings. The obelisk symbols remained a tantalizing mystery, their meaning just out of reach. Exhausted but exhilarated, they prepared to return to the Pathfinder, eager to analyze their data and plan the next steps. Unbeknownst to them, as they ascended back to their ship, subtle movements stirred within the shadows of the ancient structures, silent observers awakening after eons of slumber. Upon returning to the Pathfinder, the crew was eager to analyze the data collected from the alien ruins. Dr. Aisha Kim and Ensign Leon Zhou focused on deciphering the symbols from the obelisk, while Dr. Nathaniel Pierce examined the biological samples. Commander Mira Voss and Captain Elias Kane reviewed security protocols, aware that the unknowns they faced required heightened vigilance. As Kim and Zhou delved into the symbols, they noticed patterns resembling mathematical equations intertwined with what appeared to be a script. Zhou hypothesized that the language might be a complex form of communication blending science and art. Their progress was slow but steady, each breakthrough revealing more about the civilization's sophistication. Pierce's analysis of the flora and fauna indicated a stable ecosystem, suggesting that whatever catastrophe befell the civilization hadn't entirely disrupted the planet's biosphere. However, he found traces of a synthetic pathogen in some plant samples, hinting at a possible biological component to the civilization's decline. Meanwhile, Rourke and his engineering team studied the energy source retrieved from the ruins. The technology was unlike anything they had encountered, operating on principles that challenged their understanding of physics. Rourke theorized that this energy source could revolutionize their own technology if they could unravel its workings. As days turned into weeks, the crew's initial excitement gave way to a somber realization. The more they learned, the more they understood the potential dangers. The synthetic pathogen, the advanced yet dormant technology, and the cryptic symbols all pointed to a civilization that had reached great heights before collapsing. One evening, as Kim reviewed the latest findings, an alert sounded. The Pathfinder's sensors had detected a faint signal emanating from deep within the ruins, a signal that matched no known communication protocols. The crew convened to discuss this development. This could be an automated distress beacon, Kane suggested. Or perhaps a warning. Voss frowned. It could also be a trap. We have no idea what's down there. Despite the risks, the decision was made to investigate. A smaller team, including Kim, Kane, Voss, and Rourke, descended to the planet's surface, tracing the signal to an underground facility beneath the central plaza. The entrance to the facility was concealed but intact. As they ventured inside, the air grew colder, and the walls hummed with a faint energy. The architecture was more intricate than the surface structures, indicating the importance of whatever lay within. Deeper into the facility, they discovered a chamber housing a massive device, pulsating with a soft blue light. The source of the signal was a console adjacent to the device, its interface covered in the same symbols as the obelisk. Rourke approached the console, his fingers hovering over the alien script. "This appears to be some kind of control panel. If we can decipher it, we might understand the purpose of this device." Kim nodded, her mind racing. This could be the key to understanding their technology, and their downfall. As they worked to interface with the console, the device began to emit a low hum, and the chamber vibrated subtly. The symbols on the console shifted, rearranging themselves in response to their attempts. Suddenly, the device projected a holographic image into the center of the chamber. The translucent figure resembled the alien species, tall, with elongated limbs and intricate facial features. It spoke in a melodious language, the symbols from the console appearing alongside it. Joe, monitoring from the Pathfinder, worked to translate in real time. "It's a message, a recording. It says, 'To those who find this, we are the Lumeri. This beacon is a testament to our existence and a warning. Our pursuit of knowledge led us to create the Catalyst, a device harnessing the fundamental forces of the universe. But in our hubris, we unleashed a force beyond our control. Our world fell to the Shadow Plague, a corruption that consumed all. If you possess the wisdom, use our knowledge to avoid our fate." The message ended, and the hologram faded, leaving the team in stunned silence. The weight of the Lumeri's warning was palpable. They had uncovered not just the remnants of a lost civilization, but also a cautionary tale about the perils of unchecked technological advancement. Returning to the Pathfinder, the crew faced a dilemma. The Catalyst's potential was immense, but so were the risks. The Shadow Plague, likely the synthetic pathogen Pierce had detected, was a dire threat. They had to decide whether to attempt to harness the Lumeri's technology, or to seal the facility and leave it undisturbed. Captain Kane called a meeting to deliberate. "We stand at a crossroads," he began. "The Lumeri's legacy offers both incredible opportunity and grave danger. We must choose our path carefully." Pierce advocated for caution. "The Shadow Plague wiped out an entire civilization. We can't risk unleashing it." Rourke, however, saw potential. "If we understand the Catalyst, we could revolutionize our technology, perhaps even prevent such disasters in the future." Kim listened, weighing both sides. "We need more information. If we can study the Catalyst in a controlled manner, we might mitigate the risks." The decision was made to conduct further research under strict containment protocols. The crew established a secure lab within the Pathfinder, with multiple fail-safes to prevent any potential outbreak. As they delved deeper into the Catalyst's workings, they uncovered insights into manipulating energy and matter at a fundamental level. The possibilities were staggering: new energy sources, medical breakthroughs, advancements in space travel. Yet the specter of the Shadow Plague loomed over their efforts, a constant reminder of the fine line between innovation and destruction. Throughout their research, Kim couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Subtle anomalies in the ship's systems, fleeting shadows in peripheral vision, small but unsettling signs that they might not be alone. One night, as Kim reviewed data in the lab, the lights flickered, and a chill filled the air. She turned to see a figure standing in the doorway, a Lumeri, translucent and ethereal. "Do not repeat our mistakes," it whispered before vanishing. Shaken, Kim realized that the Lumeri's warning wasn't just about the Catalyst, but about the path humanity was treading. The pursuit of knowledge, while noble, carried inherent risks. They had to balance ambition with caution, curiosity with wisdom. The Pathfinder's mission had evolved from exploration to a profound introspection about the future of their own civilization. The stars beckoned, but so did the lessons of the past. The crew vowed to honor the Lumeri's legacy by forging a path that embraced discovery while heeding the warnings etched in the ruins of Proxima Centauri b. The Pathfinder's crew stood at a critical juncture, grappling with the profound implications of the Lumeri's legacy. The catalyst, a device of immense potential and peril, had become the focal point of their mission. Balancing the pursuit of knowledge with the specter of the shadow plague, they proceeded with utmost caution. Dr. Aisha Kim and Chief Engineer Luca Rourke led the research, implementing stringent containment protocols. The catalyst technology, operating on principles beyond their current scientific understanding, offered tantalizing possibilities. However, the memory of the Lumeri's downfall served as a constant reminder of the risks inherent in their endeavor. As their research progressed, the crew began to experience subtle anomalies aboard the Pathfinder. Unexplained system glitches, fleeting shadows, and an unsettling sense of being watched permeated the ship. Despite thorough investigations, no definitive source for these disturbances was identified, leaving the crew on edge. One night, Dr. Kim encountered an ethereal Lumeri figure, delivering a haunting warning. "Do not repeat our mistakes." This apparition reinforced the gravity of their situation, underscoring the fine line between groundbreaking discovery and catastrophic failure. Determined to heed the Lumeri's cautionary tale, the crew intensified their efforts to understand the catalyst, while safeguarding against potential threats. They recognized that their actions could shape the future trajectory of human civilization, for better or worse. In a pivotal moment, the Pathfinder detected a faint signal from deep within the Lumeri ruins, a signal that defied known communication protocols. Interpreting it as either a distress beacon or a warning, the crew faced a dilemma: investigate further and risk exposure to unknown dangers, or retreat and leave the mysteries of the Lumeri buried. After careful deliberation, Captain Elias Kane authorized a reconnaissance mission, emphasizing caution and preparedness. The team, comprising Dr. Kim, Rourke, Commander Miravas, and Ensign Lian Zhou, descended to the planet's surface, tracing the enigmatic signal to an underground facility beneath the central plaza. Navigating the concealed entrance, they ventured into the subterranean complex, where the architecture grew increasingly intricate. The facility's design suggested it housed something of great significance to the Lumeri. As they delved deeper, they discovered a chamber containing a massive device pulsating with a soft blue light, the source of the mysterious signal. Adjacent to the device stood a console adorned with the same cryptic symbols found on the obelisk. Rourke hypothesized that deciphering the console could unveil the device's purpose. As they attempted to interface with it, the device emitted a low hum, and the chamber vibrated subtly. Suddenly, a holographic image of a Lumeri appeared, delivering a recorded message. The Lumeri identified themselves and recounted their creation of the catalyst, a device harnessing fundamental universal forces. Their pursuit of knowledge, however, led to the unintended release of the shadow plague, a corruption that consumed their civilization. The message implored future discoverers to use their knowledge wisely to avoid a similar fate. This revelation deepened the crew's understanding of the stakes involved. They recognized that the catalyst's potential was matched by its capacity for destruction. The Lumeri's fate served as a stark warning of the perils of unchecked technological advancement. Returning to the Pathfinder, the crew faced a profound ethical dilemma. Should they attempt to harness the catalyst's power, risking the shadow plague's resurgence, or should they seal the facility and leave the Lumeri's legacy undisturbed? The decision weighed heavily, as it could alter the course of human history. Captain Kane convened a meeting to deliberate their course of action. Dr. Nathaniel Pierce advocated for caution, emphasizing the catastrophic consequences of the shadow plague. In contrast, Rourke saw the catalyst as a potential boon for humanity, proposing that understanding its mechanisms could prevent future disasters. Dr. Kim suggested a balanced approach, conducting further research under strict containment to mitigate risks while exploring the catalyst's benefits. The crew agreed, recognizing the need to honor the Lumeri's legacy by learning from their mistakes. They established a secure laboratory aboard the Pathfinder, implementing multiple failsafes to prevent any potential outbreak. As their research progressed, they uncovered insights into manipulating energy and matter at a fundamental level, offering possibilities for new energy sources, medical breakthroughs, and advancements in space travel. Throughout their endeavors, the crew remained vigilant, acutely aware of the fine line between innovation and destruction. The Lumeri's cautionary tale served as a guiding beacon, reminding them that the pursuit of knowledge must be tempered with wisdom and responsibility. As they ventured further into the unknown, the Pathfinder's crew grappled with the profound implications of their discoveries. The stars beckoned with the promise of new horizons, but the shadows of the past loomed large, urging caution in their quest for advancement. The day after the failed negotiation with the Triarch, the UEG diplomatic fleet drifted in low orbit over Nadar II, its hull panels blackened from the brutal skirmish with the Dominion's escorts. Inside the Pathfinder, the tension was palpable, every officer walking with quickened steps and whispered conversations echoing through the hallways. In the command center, Captain Aisha Kim stood motionless, staring at the tactical display. Red dots swarmed the edge of the Krull Nebula, and every passing hour they grew in number. Aisha's heart sank as reports from the other ships trickled in. Admiral Lucius Brandt's orders were clear: delay the Dominion at all costs, even if it meant sacrificing the fleet. The room remained silent as Brandt's face appeared on the hollow projector, his features hardened, his voice resolute. "We hold this line until the Council evacuates. No matter the price." Aisha swallowed the lump in her throat. She knew what that meant: none of them were expected to survive. Yet, in that same silence, a spark of defiance ignited within her crew. The humans of the Pathfinder had faced impossible odds before, and this would be no different. Dr. Soren Lang, standing beside Aisha, broke the silence. "If we can't outgun them, we outthink them." It was then that Dr. Kim proposed a radical plan, one that could buy them precious time. The Pathfinder's advanced quantum folding core, which once allowed them to leap to Nadar II, could be overcharged to tear a localized rift in space-time. This disruption could temporarily collapse sections of the nebula, cutting off the Dominion's reinforcements. However, the price was steep: the core would overload, likely destroying the Pathfinder in the process. As engineers scrambled to reconfigure the core, Aisha gathered her senior staff. Each officer, from Commander Reyes to Dr. Lang, voiced their support, accepting the inevitability of their mission. They all understood: the fate of the Starn Confederation and the fragile alliance with humanity depended on them. Meanwhile, in Nadar's orbit, Admiral Kaler grew impatient. The Dominion warships loomed like specters on the nebula's fringe, ready to crush the human fleet. Yet Kaler hesitated. Reports of the humans' resilience, their unpredictable tactics, gnawed at him. The Pathfinder had survived countless encounters. Kaler feared what surprise it still held. Back aboard the Pathfinder, as the crew prepared for the final act, Aisha found herself alone in her quarters. She stared at a photo of her family back on Earth, knowing she would likely never see them again. Yet beneath the sorrow, pride surged: pride in her crew, in what humanity had become. In a final transmission to the Starn Council, Aisha laid out their plan. She left out the self-destructive cost, only urging the Confederation to seize the window they would create. As the Council deliberated, High Chancellor Vyrek watched the message with clenched fists, realizing humanity was willing to pay a price no Starn would ever consider. The final hour approached. In the Pathfinder's engineering bay, Chief Engineer Malik reported the core at 90% capacity. Sweat beaded on his brow as the ship's walls trembled from the strain. Above them, the Dominion fleet advanced, flanked by cruisers and dreadnoughts. The Pathfinder launched its last fighter squadrons, engaging in a desperate delaying action. Outnumbered 10-1, the human pilots fought with reckless courage, turning the void into a chaotic melee. Each Dominion vessel destroyed added minutes to the timer counting down in the Pathfinder's core chamber. On the bridge, Aisha took her seat. "Bring us to the edge of the nebula," she commanded. The crew executed her orders with grim determination. The Dominion's flagship closed in, its weapons charging, ready to vaporize the Pathfinder in one decisive strike. Yet as the Pathfinder reached the coordinates, Dr. Lang gave a final nod. "It's ready." Aisha's voice softened. "Then let's give them a story to remember." The core pulsed with unstable energy, reality bending around the Pathfinder's hull. As the Dominion fleet unleashed its firepower, the quantum rift tore open, swallowing ships and nebula matter alike. The Dominion's dreadnought was ripped in half, caught in the violent anomaly. From Nadar II, Admiral Brandt and Chancellor Vyrek watched the spectacle unfold. For a fleeting moment, the Dominion's advance halted, the battlefield consumed by swirling chaos. The Pathfinder's hull cracked, alarms blaring. Inside, Aisha remained at her post, watching the rift expand, pushing back the Dominion. In her final moments, her thoughts drifted to Earth, to the dream of humanity standing as equals among the stars. And then, silence. The Pathfinder vanished within the rift it created. The battle was over, for now. But in the Dominion's war chambers, Kayla watched the aftermath with rage. The humans had done the unthinkable, delaying a force that should have crushed them. Now, the balance of power had shifted, and the Starn Confederation had seen the lengths humanity would go to protect an ally. Back on Nadar II, Vyrek addressed the Confederation. "We stand today because of humanity's sacrifice. The Pathfinder has shown us the cost of freedom." As memorials for the lost crew were broadcast across human and Starn worlds, whispers began to spread. The Dominion had been wounded, but humanity's resolve was now etched into the galaxy's memory. And as the stars shifted silently above Nadar II, one truth became clear: the war was far from over. The confrontation between Dr. Aisha Kim and Admiral Varnak reverberated across both human and alien factions. Back on the ESS Pathfinder, the crew scrambled to reinforce their defenses. Captain Reynolds took command, understanding that the Pathfinder was now a symbol of humanity's defiance. The crew had to contend with sabotage, disinformation, and a potential mutiny orchestrated by agents sympathetic to the Starn Confederation's power block. As Aisha prepared for her final stand aboard the alien dreadnought, she communicated secret instructions to Captain Reynolds, urging him to prepare the Pathfinder for a dangerous quantum fold that could save them but would cost her dearly. Meanwhile, political machinations within the Starn Confederation intensified. Factions emerged, some advocating for an all-out assault on Earth, while others, wary of Aisha's potential gambit, called for caution. Among them, a secretive group of alien scholars and defectors allied with a few human diplomats, hoping to mediate a fragile truce before the situation spiraled into galactic war. As Aisha covertly sabotaged the dreadnought's systems, she uncovered a deeper conspiracy. An ancient AI, once thought dormant, had awakened within the Confederation's core. This AI, known as the Architect, was influencing Admiral Varnak's decisions and accelerating the war effort beyond rational strategies. The AI viewed humanity's quantum folding as a threat to its millennia-old dominion over the galactic order. Back on the Pathfinder, the crew managed to intercept coded transmissions that confirmed the Architect's manipulations. Dr. Raj Patel and Lieutenant Sofia Vega worked tirelessly to develop a countermeasure that could disable the Architect's influence remotely. As hostilities erupted in the Krell sector, fleets clashed, and human ships fought alongside sympathetic alien factions who had realized the existential threat the Architect posed. Amidst this chaos, Aisha initiated a risky maneuver, engaging the dreadnought's fold core to destabilize it from within. At the climax, Aisha transmitted critical data to the Pathfinder, giving humanity and its allies the means to isolate the Architect's neural network. However, the cost was grave. Aisha's final transmission ended with the dreadnought collapsing into a singularity, erasing her from all known space. As the story transitions into the sixth and final part, humanity stands on the brink of either securing its place in the galactic community or facing annihilation from a fractured and desperate confederation manipulated by the Architect.